This is Nightline and I'm Liyana Hassanel. The top stories. Media in Malaysia free to operate without interference. And 26.5 million ringgit worth of drugs seized in KL raids. Good morning. Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah on Sunday wished a happy National Journalists' Day or Hawana to all journalists and media practitioners, including retirees. In a post on the official Istana Negara Facebook page, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong expressed his appreciation for the commitment and dedication given by journalists and media practitioners in carrying out their duties. The posting said this includes conveying information and reporting the latest and most accurate news through television, newspapers, radio or online portals. His Majesty also expressed his appreciation to journalists and media practitioners for sacrificing their time, energy, thoughts and personal safety, regardless of the weather condition and situation, in carrying out the task of obtaining information. With the explosion of information on the internet and social media, Al-Sultan Abdullah advised journalists and media practitioners to always abide by the law and maintain journalism ethics, as well as ensure integrity and accountability in every news report published. He said although the government respects the principles of press freedom, all quarters, especially journalists and media practitioners, must have a sense of accountability in publishing news reports. Describing journalists and media practitioners as unsung heroes, His Majesty said their role was crucial in the development of the country and in fostering unity among the people of various races and religions. The King also prayed that journalists and media practitioners will always be blessed with continuous success and protected from any form of misfortune while carrying out their duties. To ensure freedom of expression in the country, the media should remain free to operate without any interference from other parties. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said in this regard, the government had never prevented the media from publishing any reports and had in fact used certain news articles as a guide for taking follow-up actions, such as in extending assistance for the well-being of keluarga Malaysia.
Saya akui bahawa profesion kewartawanan harus kekal, bebas dan berfungsi tanpa gangguan dan campur tangan pihak lain bagi menjamin kebebasan bersuara di negara ini.
Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said this when launching the National Journalists' Day Hawana 2022 celebration at Bandar Hilir, Melaka on Sunday. He added that all government ministries and agencies would always cooperate with the media by facilitating in the dissemination of balanced, accurate and authentic information, which is to the satisfaction of the whole of keluarga Malaysia. The Prime Minister also suggested that journalists should unite under an association that represents those from the print, electronic and internet media in the country.
Bagi memastikan etika kewartawanan dipelihara, profesion kewartawanan diperkasa dan kebajikan wartawan dijamin. Bolehlah persatuan ini dinamakan Persatuan Wartawan Malaysia.
In order to support the standards and raise the level of professionalism of national journalism, the Prime Minister also recommended the establishment of a Malaysian Journalism Research Centre. Meanwhile, Malaysian journalists on Sunday unanimously called for the group to be given space to deliver authentic and balanced reports in accordance with the right to freedom of expression as enshrined in the Federal Constitution. This was among the 5 points of the Melaka Declaration 2022, read by the Berita Harian Acting Group Editor, Datuk Ahmad Zaini Kamaruzzaman, together with other media editors-in-chief at the highlight of the Hawana 2022 celebrations in Melaka on Sunday, including Media Prima Television Network's Head of News and Current Affairs, Kamarudin Mape.
Kewartawanan dipelihara dan diiktiraf sebagai institusi negara. Kedua, menghormati hak wartawan menjalankan tugas. Ketiga, menjunjung perlembagaan dan prinsip rukun negara. Keempat, kewartawanan memartabat integriti. Dan kelima, memerangi berita palsu.
The declaration was then handed over to Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri. The Science, Technology and Innovation Ministry, MASTI, through the Malaysian Department of Chemistry, is developing a 10 million ringgit mobile chemistry lab that will be housed at the department's headquarters in Petaling Jaya, Selangor. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Dr. Adham Baba, said the mobile lab is expected to be operational at the end of next year and can be used to investigate cases involving chemical pollution that require immediate analysis.
Mana-mana keperluan terutama sekali berkaitan dengan pencemaran, berkaitan dengan kes-kes yang ada kaitan dengan kimia, mobile lab ini boleh digerakkan ke lokasi dengan segera.
Datuk Sri Dr. Adham was speaking to reporters after officiating a chemistry department program in conjunction with the Johor Chemistry Department's Golden Jubilee at Kampung Semangar Dalam Multipurpose Hall, Kota Tinggi on Sunday. He also said that his ministry was developing 2 mobile lab buses with 200,000 ringgit a unit that are expected to begin operations early next year and will be stationed at Johor Bahru, Johor and Bintulu, Sarawak. He said Johor Bahru was selected as pollution cases occurred frequently in that district, while Bintulu was an oil and gas industrial area. If the project proved to be successful in the 2 areas mentioned, plans will be made to expand to other areas, so that eventually there will be 1 in each state in the future. The government has agreed to continue the construction of the National Silat Complex in Kuala Lumpur, which has been delayed since 2018. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the complex would be a symbol of pride for martial arts in the country, as well as help in efforts to introduce silat globally.
Kerajaan sentiasa menyokong usaha yang dijalankan oleh pelbagai pihak, termasuk aktiviti silat yang menjana modal insan dan intelektual serta bertindak sebagai ejen perancang strategik masyarakat di samping menjadi ejen pelaksana kepada program-program berimpak positif.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said this when officiating the Pertubuhan Seni Silat Lincah Malaysia's Assembly and 36th graduation ceremony in Gombak on Sunday. According to him, silat plays a huge role in helping the government to prevent the country's youths from unhealthy elements by inculcating good and noble character, self-confidence, discipline and obedience to the leaders through silat training. He added silat not only taught the practitioners about martial arts, but more importantly, to build a society with inner resilience, identity, discipline, good character and create a society with loyalty and love for the country. Rafizi Ramli has built an unassailable lead over Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, his rival for the PKR Deputy President's post. With only votes from Sarawak left to count, Rafizi currently has 67,895 votes to Datuk Sri Saifuddin's 48,797. The numbers do not include doubtful votes that are excluded from the result until they can be verified by the party's election committee. The former Pandan MP's lead of 19,098 is more than the number of votes available from PKR's divisions in Sarawak, the only state yet to release voting results. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Saifuddin has conceded to Rafizi in the fight for the PKR Deputy President's post. In a Facebook post on Sunday, Datuk Sri Saifuddin said that although the PKR Election Committee has not released the official results, it has published the results on its website. The former Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister said he has sent congratulatory wishes to Rafizi, Nik Nazmi Nik Ahmad, Chang Li Kang and other winners. He also urged all party members to respect the decisions and not to tear up friendships. Police have busted a drug processing laboratory and managed to confiscate a large number of drugs in raids on 2 luxury condominium units in Kuala Lumpur. During the raids, police discovered ecstasy pills and powder estimated to be worth 26.5 million ringgit. Bukit Aman Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department Director Datuk Ayub Khan Maidin Piche said 4 individuals aged 48 to 56, including 3 women from China, were detained in the raids, which started at 4:30 p.m. on Thursday.
Bahan-bahan kimia itu dibeli daripada pasaran tempatan dan diproses. So yang menjadi kepala dalang ini adalah lelaki Cina tempatan tersebutlah. Dan dia inilah yang mengajar atau menurunkan ilmu-ilmu kepada tiga lagi. Salah seorang yang ditangkap itu adalah teman wanita kepada lelaki tempatan tersebutlah. So dia ni yang mengajar teman wanita dia untuk macam mana nak memproses, macam mana nak punch ni, macam mana nak membungkus sebagainya lah.
He said each of the luxury condominium units were rented for 2,500 ringgit a month to be converted into a drug processing laboratory. They were believed to have been active since late last year. Also seized during the raid were 2 vehicles, cash, wristwatches and jewelry. Dato' Ayub Khan said checks revealed that the 3 foreign women entered the country between 4 and 5 years ago using social visit passes. The Road Transport Department RTD expects some 1,000 private vehicles from Thailand to enter Kelantan on weekends, following the reopening of the Malaysia-Thailand border from June 1st. Kelantan RTD Director Muhammad Miswari Abdullah said they will come in through 3 state entry points, namely the department's border control stations in Rantau Panjang, Pengkalan Kubur and Bukit Bunga.
Semua kenderaan perjalanan asing yang ingin memasuki negara ini dan sebaliknya perlulah mematuhi semua prosedur operasi standard yang telah ditetapkan oleh Majlis Keselamatan Negara.
He said the department will issue international circulation permits at border control stations for foreign vehicles, provided they submit the required documents and pass their vehicle inspection. He was speaking during a media conference at the Malaysia-Thailand border on Sunday, which was also attended by Naratiwat Member of Parliament Bilal Mat Yusof. Meanwhile, Bilal expressed hope that with private vehicles now being allowed to enter, economic activities on both sides of the border will be boosted. Missing Nepal aircraft with 22 on board located. The details when we return. Nepalese aircraft carrying 22 people on board that had lost contact with the ground support on Sunday morning has been found at Kowang in Mustang district. It was reported that a Nepal Army team has spotted the wreckage of the twin-engine aircraft at the mouth of the Lamche River in Mustang. According to officials, search teams had been sent to the site of a fire spotted by local residents, which is at the foot of the Himalayan mountain Manapati. It was said that the Army team was able to zero in on the likely crash site after Nepal Telecom tracked down the cell phone of the airplane's pilot, Captain Prabhakar Gimiri, through the Global Positioning System GPS network. However, the fate of the 22 people on board, including 2 German nationals, 4 Indians and 13 Nepalese citizens, remains unknown. The twin otter plane belonging to Nepal's Tata Air was flying from the city of Pokhara to Jomsom, which flights between the two cities are usually 20 to 25 minutes long. The aircraft, however, lost contact with air traffic control about 12 minutes into the flight after it took off from Pokhara at 9:55 a.m. In Nigeria, more than 31 people were killed when a stampede broke out at a church event in the southeastern city of Port Harcourt on Saturday. The incident took place at a local polo club where the nearby King's Assembly Church had organized a gift donation drive. The crowd then became tumultuous and uncontrollable when a huge crowd from outside surged into the club through a narrow gate, resulting in the deadly charge. It was reported that a total of 31 persons lost their lives in the stampede, which most of the casualties were children. Officials said they have called on religious and charity groups to ensure they work with the police for security and crowd control in organizing such programs in the future. It added that an investigation has been launched and a report would be released in due course. Shanghai on Sunday said unreasonable curbs on businesses will be removed from June 1st, while Beijing has reopened part of its public transport as well as some malls and other venues. The Chinese commercial hub of 25 million aimed to essentially end the lockdown from Wednesday as infections have stabilized. Shanghai will also ease COVID-19 testing requirements for people who want to enter public areas or use public transport in order to encourage work resumption and return to normal life. According to officials, people entering public venues or taking public transportation will need to show a negative PCR test taken within 72 hours versus 45 hours previously. However, there will be no testing changes for people who want to leave the city. Shanghai reported more than 100 COVID-19 cases on Sunday, while Beijing recorded 21, both in line with a falling trend nationwide. Fans of Liverpool tear-gassed. Sports coming up next. sports, football, the UEFA Champions League. Jurgen Klopp admitted Liverpool's players were hurting after the final defeat to Real Madrid, but declared the Reds will come again after the narrow verse in Paris. Klopp added next year's final in Istanbul was already a target, advising supporters to book the hotel.
I told the boys that I feel the pride already. But I saw as well that I was the only one in the dressing room in that moment, so the boys need a little bit longer for that. I understand that. These boys played an outstanding season. But these boys are really competitive. They have an incredible attitude. It's a fantastic group, and we will go again.
A 1-0 defeat to Madrid at Stade de France meant Liverpool were left with FA Cup and EFL Carabao Cup triumphs to show for a season in which they came desperately close to an unprecedented quadruple. Manchester City denied them Premier League title by 1 point on a dramatic final day last Sunday. And it was Champions League specialists Madrid who toppled them on Saturday to claim their 14th European crown, with Vinicius meeting his second-half winner. Earlier, police deployed tear gas on supporters waiting in long lines to get into the Stade de France, and security struggled with fans desperate to see the Champions League final that was delayed by 37 minutes. Many of Liverpool supporters claimed they had been at the stadium hours before kickoff, but were stopped from getting into the ground.
Thousands and thousands of fans out there getting tear gas with tickets, treating them like animals. It's a disgrace. We've seen this before. It's a risk to health. We've seen it, and it's going to happen all again. I feel it now. Look at your eyes, Ben. Yeah, fucking shite. They threw tear gas in the fans.
Liverpool, in a statement, said they were hugely disappointed at the stadium entry issues and breakdown of the security perimeter, and have called for an investigation into the unacceptable issues. French police said fans with fake tickets had tried to force access to the stadium, but the rapid intervention of the police allowed the return to calm. They added they were able to disperse fans without difficulty.
Ayo semarakkan sokongan anda untuk Harimau Malaya. Siri persahabatan antarabangsa. Secara langsung hanya di TV9 dan Astro 149.
After this breather, police in the midst of completing diplomat cannabis case. Welcome back. Pregnancy is a life-changing experience and a vital part of a woman's life. Nonetheless, when one is not prepared or had not planned to carry a child, she may be flooded with various problems. This is especially true in the case of teenagers who became victims of unintended pregnancies, as they face not just health risks but also social implications. Our reporter Alif Yunus has the details.
Malaysian Medical Association MMA President Dr. Koh Kachai said unplanned pregnancies can lead to poor maternal mental health to girls and adolescents, including prenatal depression, stress and lower levels of psychological well-being. These, aside from other possible health complications due to their immature bodies that stems from a lack of proper prenatal care, which can put the mother's life in jeopardy.
Apart from the antenatal and postpartum stress on the mental health of these mothers, we need to also look at other adverse health outcomes. Regardless of whether the mother is an underage girl or a woman of a more mature reproductive age group, unintended pregnancies can affect both the mother and the child.
He added that it can also lead to a higher incidence of low birth weight or other physical and cognitive disabilities for the child. Adolescents also typically resort to unsafe abortions, which the World Health Organization says are the third leading cause of maternal deaths globally. Unintended pregnancies could also lead to baby dumping or even horrifying case of infanticide, one of which was reported in Kemaman, Terengganu in February this year, involving a 15-year-old teenager who was arrested on suspicion of committing murder by stabbing her newborn son shortly after giving birth. This has sparked serious calls for victims of unintended pregnancies to be given protection by authorities instead of being penalised by Malaysia's abortion-related laws. Sadly, this issue has been described as a silent ongoing crisis in Malaysia, as the Health Ministry's statistic has shown that 14 in every 1,000 girls below the age of 18 are pregnant each year. This amounts to an estimated 18,000 annual pregnancies, of which 4,500 pregnancies are out of wedlock, while an average of 9 babies are reportedly abandoned every month. Speaking to Nightline, Orphan Care Foundation Chief Executive Officer Datin Paduka Cik Asmah Ibrahim said the organisation has been actively advocating and saving abandoned babies. She said one of the factors associated with the alarming numbers of baby dumping cases is the social illness among the younger generation.
The age of children being exposed to information on sexual activities are very high now with the presence of the internet. So we have to also take this into account in coming up with preventive action. So the more exposed the younger generation are, more cases that we have this way. However, I think the work to curb such situation needs to be more aggressive, in instilling the awareness and to give proper advocacy to our younger people on how to take care of themselves.
The foundation is currently working on increasing the number of baby hatches around Malaysia to curb the issue of baby abandonment and help mothers who are in need of assistance. Unintended pregnancies are often the consequences of women having no right or say over their own bodies or due to the lack of reproductive health options. It is important that they have access to contraception because unintended pregnancies should not cost a woman her health or life. Alif Yunus, TV3.
Police are in the midst of completing an investigation paper on a former diplomat with the title of Dato, who was arrested along with his son for allegedly planting cannabis trees in Jandabai, Pahang. Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department Director Dato Ayub Khan Maidin Piche said police sought to apply a remand extension on Saturday on the 78-year-old suspect but was rejected by the court. The septuagenarian's son, however, is still being remanded and the police will apply to extend this remand period, which is scheduled to end on Monday. Dato Ayub said the police are completing the investigation paper as soon as possible and will submit it to the Attorney General's office soon for further action. On May 24th, it was reported that a former Malaysian diplomat with a Datuk status was nabbed by police after he was suspected of planting and owning a cannabis plantation involving some 100 of the prohibited plants. It is believed to be the largest seizure of cannabis trees in the history of narcotics crackdown in the country as before. These seizures only involved cannabis trees planted in pots. Kenya on Saturday has staged an air show that displayed military and civilian aerobatic capabilities ahead of the June 1st Madaraka Day to commemorate the day in 1963 that the East African country attained self-rule. Let's take a look as we wrap up Nightline this time around. And with that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.